Hey everybody, welcome to I'm Not Crying, You're Crying, the show about anything and everything because it's our show. And I'm here with Jay.
Hi guys.
Juan, Intelligence. Juan, are you there?
Juan is here, yes.
Juan Intelligence is not here? I guess Juan Intelligence has left the building, but I think we knew that already. And this is our theme music.
Is it?
All right, everybody, welcome back to I'm Not Crying, You're Crying, Season 6, Episode 10, the finale. We're here at the finale, everybody. Aren't you guys excited about that?
I am actually excited. I didn't think we were going to make it this far, dude.
I'm going to be honest with you. This episode means that, including this episode, hold on, let me check the numbers here. And you guys know I'm horrible at math, but I know that.
Are you also including the episodes that we don't consider episodes?
Yeah. Every episode we've ever produced of this show, whether it be a review or a full-blown episode.
Produce is such a overstretched.
What do you mean? How does it get done if we don't produce it?
Yeah. I mean, consider with this episode included, we will have made 82 episodes of this show after this season.
Shut the front door, dude.
We will have produced 82 episodes. You know what that means, right?
We're getting close to 100.
Yeah, man.
Actually.
You are. If I'm
Syndication.
doing, and please tell me if you tell me if I'm doing the math wrong here. But I think that means that you're 18 episodes away from eating a dick. Is that what it is?
I would like you to prove that was ever said.
I mean, I can.
I think. Every time you want to put me on blast like that, you say that, and you never insert the audio. So
that's not true. I'm pretty sure I insert the audio every time. But
because you have to scroll through a lot of like fuck yous from Juan and death threats from Juan and like him getting upset, and we should just do a montage. We should just do a montage of that.
we have. It was in like episode 3. Season 3.
Yeah.
A montage of death threats from Juan. A montage of Sean making fun of Juan's mom.
It's also true. I do that quite often, and then you remind me that she is no longer with us, and then I apologize, and I should feel horrible, but I don't. It is a gift. It's a gift to be this uncaring about other people's emotions.
I would say you're a genius at it.
Well,
You say a psychopath, but hey, what do I know?
To each their own. To each their own.
You know why Juan doesn't feel like the show is produced? Is because he doesn't do much to contribute to the show. Like he doesn't read the show notes. He doesn't watch the movies that we're supposed to review.
Did you read the show notes today, Jay?
I read the show notes every week.
No, you don't. You don't. I remember episodes where you're like, I'm going to be honest, I didn't read them. And then John would make a quip of, one day somebody's going to read them. So fuck you that you read them every day. Screw you.
Juan, prove it.
I mean, Juan, you said, I want to say it was the last episode, that if we started another podcast, you would need to bring me along so I could write show notes that you wouldn't read and so that I could edit the show.
Yes.
So are you saying that Jay is telling the truth or that you're a liar?
No, I've never said I read the show notes or watched the movies.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that we could produce this.
Oh, go screw yourself. Just start the fucking topics.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Well, Juan, you did this to yourself. But as usual, folks, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and anywhere you can get your podcast. Please like and share with your friends, because that's how we grow. And take time to write a review of the podcast. That's another way, especially on the Apple algorithm thing. That is how algorithm. Sorry, Juan. That is how we reach people that have never heard of us before. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about I found a couple of different news stories. Usually I have some topics to talk about, and I have one, but I think all these news articles kind of dovetailed into one mega topic like Voltron. But the first one has nothing to do with anything else. And the first two really. But it's your favorite person, Juan, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Are we going to talk about how he's a chicken shit and pled the fifth?
Well, well, the thing is, Juan. So I'm hoping you have a little more insight here, because for those who don't know, one of Trump's places called Mar-a-Lago. Am I saying that right? Mar-a-Lago was raided. Because if I'm understanding correctly, he was accused of taking classified.
No, not accused. It was proven.
Okay.
It was proven.
So
they raided the house and they took out boxes and boxes of documents that according to him were declassified. But that's bullshit.
Can you do me a favor, Juan? Can you just can you start from the beginning? So this all starts after Trump loses, like is voted out of the president's seat.
Well, no, I don't know when it began, but yeah, when he left the White House, he allegedly left with documents that were part of the presidential office.
Well, I mean, I think he thought that was like the stapler.
No, well, because I could just keep these.
He allegedly said that he took souvenirs like personal letters from Kim Jong. Help me out here.
Kimiko?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Kim Possible?
Ooh. Yes, and Ron Stoppable.
Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson.
Kokomo.
Anyways, he took documents. The most recent stuff is they're stating that, or he was stating that they were declassified and he was allowed to take them. Now, the thing that you guys may not know is every document, and I could be mistaken again, that the president writes or signs or holds is held as official documentation. From the speeches that they write and give afterwards, they don't just get like discarded and thrown away. They get filed for historical purposes. But he took boxes and boxes of documentations which were classified and didn't really belong to him. And now
wait, they had his name on it though.
Yeah, he produced them.
History books now say Donald Trump as one of the U.S. presidents. Does that mean he could take them because it has his name on it?
Well, I mean, the way you tell it, they get to take a souvenir, like a stapler.
Yeah.
So, I don't think that's how it works, man.
I mean, he just took something a little more important than a swing line.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Juan. Now, does this mean that? Okay. So A, let me ask: Can the president take things after their presidency? Like, let's say that these documents he took were like recipes to, like, I don't know, the fucking Big Mac that they gave the president for him. Is that something that he could take out of the White House? Like,
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
And so, like,
I mean, I think if it's like personal gifts, I think he can. But he took fucking presidential documentation. And
do you think that he gifted himself those briefings so that he could say that it was a gift from the president?
I've heard him say dumber things. Yes.
I think he has friends that still don't believe he was the president, so he just wanted to take it to prove that he was president at one time.
He's like that one guy. He's like,
one.
They just let me take all this stuff. Look at these boxes. Now, Juan.
Yeah.
Now, and please, you have to help me here. Now, what is the big deal about these papers? Like, why should we care that he took these boxes? Because, like you said, this could just be stuff he wrote down. Like, he could have wrote down, like, for breakfast I'm having McNuggets, and for lunch I'm having a Big Mac with all this Diet Coke.
Well, things he should have tweeted, he just wrote it down.
Yeah. He's like, I can't tweet because they're oppressing me and they will never understand my genius. But now they're just full of these boxes.
The fact is, I wonder how classified some of these documents are, because he was known for just opening his mouth and letting shit slip out that shouldn't have been said, and then trying to backtrack that he never said it. But I don't know what's in all the documents. I don't know what would happen if they got in the wrong or right hands of people. But the thing that I find the funniest and the most ironic is during his campaign trail, he talked about Hillary, or who he called Crooked Hillary, just disappearing or deleting tons of emails that shouldn't have been deleted because there were governmental emails. So he's not deleting emails, but he's taking fucking documents. And then he also criticized all the people that were part of that investigation for pleading the fifth. And he's like, if you have nothing to hide, why are you pleading the fifth? And now it's his turn. He did similar shit, and surprise, surprise, he pled the fifth.
Yeah, and my wife, who is I think addicted to TikTok now, but she sent me a stream of videos about essentially how former President Trump could be very hyperbolic in a lot of his statements, and specific in regard to what you just said, Juan, is like, only like if you got nothing to hide, you shouldn't plead the fifth. But he was making statements like only like criminals and gangsters will plead the fifth, and
bad hombres, man.
Yeah, so like again, my question is like, why, like what's so important about these what do these documents prove or disprove about him that he would want to take them and that the government would want them back so bad? Like if they are a box of his empty thoughts that he didn't get to put on Twitter, why would the government want them back?
No, the biggest question is, if these were so important, how the fuck did he get them out?
Well, it sounds like he just walked out. He gifted them to himself.
Yeah. Remember on his final days of presidency that people had candid photos of the movers walking out with like statues or bust of former presidents and shit like that. So they're like
that was called the insurrection.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, that wasn't moving day. That was called the insurrection.
I was wondering why one of the movers had like a buffalo headdress.
Well, they were considered domestic terrorists, not hefty movers.
Not hefty movers that he got outside of the U-Haul or the Home Depot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just do these documents prove like any sort of collusion with like Russia, or is it just like a thing where you're just like, bro, you can't take this shit. Like, what's wrong with you?
Maybe a little bit of column A, maybe a little bit of column B. To be honest, I haven't really paid 100% attention because I'm done. His presidency is done. Like, I don't want to deal with his shit. I just want to hope that Biden doesn't die even if he dies, maybe it'll go better because Kamala would be up to bat. But Biden hasn't given me the warm and fuzzies, and the fact is he was the lesser of two evils. And one of the videos I've seen of him is like, damn.
Well, I mean, not to go too far off, but I feel like, between the two presidents, I think I can align a little bit more with one president's views versus the other. The other piece of the equation is that if these documents do prove that he was doing something a lot more nefarious than just being a complete dipshit, then like I'm curious what it is, because like A, they let him walk out with it, and B, someone goes, hey, we're missing a bunch of shit. Who might have it? And I wonder if if it's like that one guy who was like, well, he said he would bring him right back, and
the thing is, he wasn't a genius. So how the fuck did he walk out with him? Was he like just put like paperweights in them, and they walked out with boxes thinking they had the documents, while Trump actually walked out with the actual boxes? And now that they're organizing everything, they're opening up and they realize, oh shit, there's a bunch of Big Mac wrappers in here weighing this shit down. There's no documents. What happened to the documents? Or how did he actually walk out with them? Like, did nobody really like inspect the shit that he was taking?
Well, I don't know. It just makes me think that those documents aren't important, because if it was like conspiracy stuff, how Donald Trump would defend all of that shit? He would go, well, I said it anyway.
Yeah,
I said
true. Like,
I said it out loud anyway. What?
Yeah, it's true. It's like, what are you going to do about it?
If these documents aren't that important, why plead the fifth?
Well, I don't know, because I think that's what his lawyers are telling him to say.
Oh, fuck. Since when has he listened to people? How many times have they told him, hey, don't say this shit? Like, even before this, the insurrection fucking hearings, he was like hung up to dry, man. Like, they were telling him to like denounce the fucking insurrection, and he kept on refusing, to say it and call it certain things. He doesn't listen to people. If his lawyer said, hey, in fact, the way he said the whole plead the fifth, he did try to blame it on his lawyers, that the fact that it was his lawyers that advised him to do that. That way, if any of his true followers, fans, whatever the fuck you want to call people, are like, whoa, his lawyers are forcing him to do it. Now we need to start the Stop Silencing Donald Trump movement.
I mean, can he run in 2024?
I believe so, yes. Unless he goes to prison for any of the crimes.
Well, maybe that's his game plan. You know, like if he's planning to run in 2024, I think he's smart enough to watch the things that he says right now. You know?
But would he run as a Republican again, or would he go independent? Because do you think the Republican Party would back him?
I feel like I know nothing about politics, so I'm probably the least qualified person to talk about it. But I feel like even if he ran it didn't matter what he runs as, because people will still remember, right? So like he has his dedicated followers who will follow him no matter what party that he plays for, because his agenda will still be the same.
That's very true.
Absolutely, I think that's the biggest case. But the United States has always had a long history of being a two-party system. Maybe if his beliefs aren't part of the Libertarian Party, but maybe if he did run as an independent, he would finally break that system. But if not break the system, it would damage it. And I don't know, man. This is where we should invite Peter as one of our guests, man. He actually has some of the knowledge of this.
He has the Peter intelligence, you would say.
Yeah, not the zip.
He's Piz.
He's Piz. Peter intelligence.
Oh, we can have a new political segment, Piz and Jizz.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jay, that's genius. Jay, that is genius. Oh man. But moving away. I have another thing, and I don't know how much you guys.
Before we move away, isn't he also in trouble in New York as well?
I don't know. Did you read the article? Because I don't know much about politics either.
Yeah, I got, for me, Juan, I got the crash course of it through TikTok from my wife, and it's literally a lot of people just going, "This idiot stole things from the White House that proved that he was doing something, and now the White House wants it back," and he's like, "I don't have it," and then it turns out that motherfucker had it. Yeah,
I feel like it's like OJ stealing his jersey again. You know,
yeah, I do remember that.
Breaking into
Vegas, right?
what was it, Palace Station in Las Vegas?
Yeah,
that was fun.
That's what put him in prison.
Yep, not the murder allegedly, but the fact that he stole his own memorabilia back.
Well, he had to teach people to show him some respect, man.
He's a juice.
Now can I move on, Juan, or did you?
Yeah.
Do you want to? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Moving on, and I don't know how much you guys care about it, but I know that I found it very surprising when I read it, which is that The Game, and you guys know who The Game is. The Game and Eminem are The Game dissed Eminem in his new album Drillmatic. Do you guys know who The Game is?
He's a rapper, right?
I don't know who that is, but I did listen to that song.
Well, it's a 10-minute diss track against Eminem.
I don't know if I'd call it a diss track, really, because it was there was a lot of homages to a lot of Eminem's old work, you know. So
yeah, okay. So to give a little history for those who aren't familiar, The Game is a West Coast rapper who made his fame in the early 2000s, around the same time that 50 Cent did. 50 Cent had founded G-Unit. G-Unit was looking for a way to sway the West Coast crowd in their direction, and Dr. Dre had a young, up-and-coming West Coast rapper that wasn't Kendrick Lamar at the time, although he did have Kendrick Lamar on the shelf somewhere back there. But The Game kind of fit the aesthetic that they were going with G-Unit. And so The Game becomes the prodigy of Dr. Dre, which means that he's in the same camp that Eminem exists in, the same camp that Snoop Dogg is in, the same camp of 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, and all of those fun folks. So if you're not familiar, whatever. So that fast G-Unit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's part of that whole tie. So that whole thing spun a clothing line. It had shoes. It had a whole thing that all kind of fizzled out, and it's all The Game's fault. So when The Game's first album came out, called The Documentary, it it went, I don't know, like double platinum, something like that. And this guy had become like the biggest dick. Like he was just like, I'm the greatest rapper in the world. Fuck all these motherfuckers. And these, like the only reason he was even anyone is because 50 Cent had brought him on and was like, yeah, man, here, I'll help you, fucking be good at this. And so, so anyway, and he has a falling out with G Unit, and he starts his own like side thing, and he starts saying G you not. And he does this. He has this diss track called 300 Bars. It's a whole thing where he disses all of G Unit and all of Shady Aftermath Records and blah, blah, blah. So then after that, he goes silent. He's dormant. He's on some things here and there. He has another album that comes out, doesn't do as well. And he is basically radio silent for like the next 15 years until like recently. A couple years ago, during that whole time, he had taken some time. He had dissed Jay-Z, who was like, he was Jay-Z at the time. And again, this is more like rap music history, but he had just released the Black album, which was supposed to be his last album. And that was like, that was basically rap gold and no one could touch that. But the game thought he was such hot shit that he could talk shit about Jay-Z. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is like apologizing on his behalf to make sure that he keeps getting plays like in states around the world. Or states within the U.S. So anyway, radio silence again.
Sean, you do realize we have just lost all our white listeners.
Hey, listen, man, I try. I try. He's like, I'll come back when they start talking about Eminem again. So he goes radio silent again. Now, he's releasing this album called Drillmatic, which is his first album, like 10 years, 15 years. And he's been on various like mixtapes and stuff, but he releases this song called The Black Slim Shady. It is a 10-minute supposed diss track to Eminem.
I listened to it. It doesn't seem like he's dissing him. It just, I mean, to have himself, he proclaims himself as the Black Slim Shady, which is, it's a nice, it's a nice sentiment to like.
Yeah, he does. He does, and he makes a lot of claims in there. The one claim is that he's claiming that Eminem is culturally appropriating the black culture, which is why he's so big. And the only reason he's so big is because he keeps a lot of black people around him. And he and I don't know how deep you go into the Eminem lore or music, Jay. But there's a song called Criminal where he blanks out the word, the N-word. And so in this song, The Black Slim Shady, he also blanks out a word, the N-word, because it rhymes with some other things, and he changes it to black skin. And so, I mean, he is, yes, in many ways paying homage to Eminem. He's mimicking a lot of his flows, a lot of his early work, a lot of his rhyme schemes, a lot of stuff that would just go, I think you just really kind of admire this person in a way that, I mean, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery.
It sounds more like a better diss track than Machine Gun Kelly. Because Machine Gun Kelly dissed Eminem, but at the same time, like, complimented him to the point that when M retaliated against Machine Gun Kelly, didn't he do his diss track going, wait, I'm perplexed. You just dissed me, and then you criticized me, and all in the same song. So do you think that the game did similar to Machine Gun Kelly, just done better?
I don't know. I don't think it was better.
If I mean, as a person who's listened to a good number of diss tracks, I would say that this was pretty poor for a few reasons. Reason number one is because, it comes off as if he is honestly just being, like almost envious of him. But more so, it seems like a desperate plea to kind of jumpstart the streams of his album that's coming out, and it's his first album to come out in like 10 years, right? And Eminem, for context here, was like the highest selling rapper of like the 2000s. Like from 2000 to 2010, he was like the highest selling rap artist, like in all of the rap industry. So he sold the most, and he could put out anything, and it was basically certified gold or diamond, I guess, in the music world. So for this guy, go ahead.
I mean,
Jay.
which is like, you can't diss someone by telling them they're culturally appropriating something, because someone hears that, but they've made so much money doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're not hurting my feelings, because
I'm going to wipe my tear with these Benjamins.
Yeah. And that's part of the other thing about it, which is that he really is like kind of, he's making a stink over things that are like, you know, Eminem he made it where he is on his own accolades. He wasn't like, it's not like and again, I don't know how much rap stuff you guys get into, but like, you know, Drake, he's probably one of the biggest rap artists right now of like the 2020s or the 2010s or whatever. And he has been known to have a ghostwriter, have people write his raps for him, which is in the bass rap, the battle rap community is like the biggest no-no. But yet Drake is still, you know, still seen as an artist who's dominating the music charts. So,
you know, Sean, I saw a meme on social media, and it said, rap battles are basically two guys that wrote poems for each other.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen that. It's actually very funny. And so like the Game wrote this poem, the 10-minute poem to Eminem, because he was just very, very upset that that he wasn't paying attention to him. I don't know. Like,
my question is, and what the other white listeners that we have in our podcast is, do you think M is going to retaliate with his own diss track?
I'm actually glad you asked that question, because earlier this year or earlier last year, Nick Cannon also dissed Eminem, and he is still waiting on a reply. He dissed him twice, as a matter of fact. He made two.
But Nick Cannon's garbage, man. Like,
well, some people would argue
never
that
a good artist.
Some people could argue that Machine Gun Kelly was never a good artist, and the only reason that Eminem replied was because he kind of did the check boxes, or ultimately he made a snide remark about his daughter.
Yeah,
that was in poor taste, and so like, you know, he was like, yeah, fuck this guy, I'm gonna go after him.
So what you're saying is we're probably gonna not hold our breath because we'll pass out. So
well,
the Game should have dissed Haley.
Well, this is how
you did.
This is
you
how,
did.
Yeah, this is how I know you didn't listen to the link.
Oh
that
no,
was in the show notes.
I did not. Like, no,
because he has all the check boxes. He disses his mother. He disses his daughter. He disses his Dr. Dre, who is essentially the person who brought them all into the game and like made them into somebody. He dissed his other cohorts, 50 Cent. He disses D12. You know,
so he dissed honestly, his best friend, the one that's dead. What's his name?
He did. He even brought up D'Angelo Bailey, which is the deep cut from his first album. You know,
I felt like it was more disrespectful to Dr. Dre than anything. You know, because he says in the song he really says he's going to do some like dark, like,
yeah, he
despicable.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and part of that is that he's kind of mimicking Eminem's old, like, you know, original Slim Shady, like first 4 or 5 album style, where, you know, he's just kind of mocking him, where he's like, you know, hey, Dr. Dre's dead, he's locked in my basement, you know, and all that stuff. So, I mean, again, I feel like some of this is kind of a love letter to Eminem's style and what people kind of like have known him for.
Yeah, which is like, I can't see him retaliating, because it'll be more of like a thank you letter to, like, you know, it's like, oh, I love the nice things you said about me.
You know, knowing Eminem, he could probably do a good diss track like that and still diss him.
It's funny you say that, Jay, because, you know, he's probably be like, you know, I forgot I made that song. This reminded me, you know, oh. It's like, I'm really fucking good, man. God damn.
Hey, wasn't there a rumor or a theory that the reason Machine Gun Kelly and M actually dissed each other was for record sales, because aren't they associated with the same label or something like that?
Yeah, it's something along those lines. But ultimately, the reason why they were even dissing each other in the first place is because Machine Gun Kelly made a comment about his daughter. Yeah. The other piece of that is that he believes that Eminem was blocking him from gaining any more momentum as an artist, because Shea 4-5 Records is as a radio station on Apple Music, and obviously Apple is a behemoth, and obviously Eminem is also a behemoth. So by being on that, he gets access to a wider audience. And so he is making claims that Eminem actively kept him from being on those shows. That had other notable artists and people that are very recognizable in the rap community, like Sway from the Sway and Tech Show from back in the early 90s. So, you know, it is something of note. I mean, because Eminem does have the kind of clout that could say, yeah, no, don't let that guy in. And he does have that kind of clout that could warrant them going, oh yeah, no, we shouldn't let that guy on here. So it's not unreasonable to think that he could do that. I mean, but would he? Does he care enough about Machine Gun Kelly to do something like that? I honestly don't know. Or the game for that matter. I would be hard pressed to say that Eminem would respond. And I think the rap community in and of itself, and Game himself has said that nobody wants to mess with the white boy. Like, he mentioned, I mean, he basically reneges on all that stuff in this song. But there are video clips that you can look up on YouTube of the game saying that if Eminem picked a fight with him, he would run. Like, he knows, other rappers know, like, you just don't mess with Eminem because he is just that good of a rapper. So what any of this means for anybody, I don't know. But I do know that I found it very, very crazy that all this had happened all in one go. So which is why I wanted to talk to you guys about it. And if you guys don't care, I apologize. But I found it interesting.
I mean, it is interesting. It's just like the misconception that it's a diss track.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's funny because the community, the rap community, is adamant that this is not how you diss someone. They are very adamant that the game is really just paying homage to Eminem, and he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, it's like he just started yelling "please" and "thank you" over some beats.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very, very, very funny. But Juan, do you? I mean, you're an Eminem fan, right?
I do like me some Slim Shady.
So, do you want him to respond?
I don't know. I think I do because just hearing him go on the mic again, it's pretty damn good. Like, he has skills. He has a talent that a lot of people that are in this game, no pun intended, would like to have. And I also like it when people break down his raps. Like, when he dissed Machine Gun Kelly, they were like analyzing his lyrics about, like, when he used like the lyric, you must be Swayze, like saying, hey, I'm gonna.
Are you gonna break down his lyrics right now?
No, I really enjoy it. Like, and then it reminds me when he disses people, like, how good he is, and then I go down the rabbit hole on some of his underground shit and all that stuff. And how many years has it been since he's released something?
It's funny because Eminem also just released Curtain Call 2. I want to say within the same week that the game released Drillmatic. And the funny thing is that Curtain Call 2 is basically a culmination of a bunch of different tracks and from different albums. But there's only one new song on there, and it's still getting more plays than Drillmatic.
So he released the best of.
Yeah, he did. He really did. He really did. It's pretty funny, man. So I feel like all in. Yeah. The game did this out of some ploy to kind of get some attention because he was releasing an album and he wanted everybody to know.
Yeah, it's more of like, hey, look at me. I made an album and I'm making fun of Eminem just to try to get people to buy his, songs.
Yeah. But you know what? I listened, I skimmed through it and go, I know all these songs, and I kept going. And I it's funny because the only reason I looked for the Eminem album was to see, because I saw the game post and I was like, I wonder if Eminem has a new album out. And then lo and behold, he does. And there's only one song that I've never heard of before on there, which is crazy in my head. But anywho, moving on before I drag it on any further. Now, the next two things dovetail into my larger topic that I want to talk to you guys about. And that's mental health. Now, I found two articles, and one of them was sent to us by Ozzy because he knows that I love to hear whatever the hell's going on with Ezra Miller. But he sent me one. Well, I came across one while I was on Instagram, and that is that Tom Holland quits social media. And the funny thing is that I don't follow him on social media regularly, so I didn't miss his presence. But he's actually been gone for some time now. And the reason why he left was because of his own mental health. So my question to you guys is, like, do you think that because of the society we live in, that this is a more comfortable statement for him to make? Or do you think that, like, there are some other things going on behind the scenes for these young celebrities that are just really damaging to their mental health.
I think it's more because he's a young celebrity, and like he's still trying to process, his fame and people liking him, and then try to process people not liking him for no other reason than they just don't like him.
Yeah, and I get that piece of it, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the video. Did you guys have a chance to watch his video?
No,
I did.
It's still up on. If you haven't seen it, it's on Tom Holland's Instagram. He has like a 1.5-minute video kind of just explaining like why he's no longer on, like he's going to be on social. And the thing that I found the most triggering to copy Juan's word is that he was like, I got into a spiral of social media and I just couldn't pull myself out. So I'm pulling myself out because it's not healthy for me. And so my question to you guys is, again, I ask, do you think that there's something going on behind the scenes in Hollywood, aside from him being, a famous in popularity actor, but like, is he also like, is this spiraling thing a thing that's happening to like this generation? Like, is that a thing?
Dude, I think it's anybody. Like, people on social media are fucking brutal because they could hide behind the keys of their
they're not brutal to just normal people. They're brutal to celebrities.
No, not necessarily true. Like, I follow some people that I wouldn't consider celebrities, but they try to be influencers with like their magic and shit like that, and they post their tricks, and the comments on there are like, oh, you did this though, you haven't practiced enough, you're lame. Like they're brutal, and I find myself like becoming angry at people, and I jump in and make comments of, well, at least they're posting their stuff. What are you doing? Instead of bashing them, just support them. And then they come after me, and then I'm like,
okay, So it sounds like you yourself are prone to spiraling. That's what it sounds like to me. Like, it sounds like
no.
So
like, it's not spiraling, but like I see some of the comments that people make toward people trying to get their stuff out there, and they're not necessarily celebrities. Like, I don't expect anybody on my friends feed, because they're my friends, to come after me or be brutal on it. But like Jay, like, aren't you afraid of posting some of your videos on from stand up and having somebody come after you because of one of your jokes?
Well, here's the thing. I have posted videos of my stand-up. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit because I am nobody. I am nobody right now. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, this guy sucks, because I am nobody. Like, it's only if you have a following. You have a following of like a couple thousand or 10,000 followers, then that's when people start going after you, because you have people that'll back you. But you're also going to attract those people that are going to be negative towards you.
Yeah.
And like people like us, like no one's going to bash us. No one's going to, insult us because we're nobody.
Yeah. And I would argue that that's worse. Here we are every week doing this thing, putting it out there for a handful of people to enjoy. And no one's telling me that my audio sounds horrible or that I have a buzzing in the background. Well, to my face, sure. But again, feedback's feedback, right? I guess my larger question for this is that, like, this spiraling, right? This idea that Tom Holland is opening his Instagram of 1 billion, fucking comments of something he's posted, and one person, two people, three hundreds of them go, I think he has like 7 million followers, so maybe 100,000 of those people go, "Hey, your hair's ugly. Are you balding?" And then like he's kind of like,
he's a 20-something-year-old kid, and then someone comments on there, "Hey, your nose is crooked." Like,
yeah, so,
like that just fucks with you as a young person.
And it's like, is my nose crooked? You know what I mean? And the thing is, at the end of the day, he still gets to be Tom Holland, right? So like, when we talk about mental health and we talk about like, wellness and taking time to be well, like, taking time away from like literally saying I need to get away from my phone or the media. It's like social media, which is almost, I don't know, it's tied into everything we do almost online. It's kind of crazy to think that like this guy's he's trying to take time away to do that. Like he's just saying I need to turn my phone off.
But
because
does that really fix it? He's just ignoring the comments now.
Well, the thing is, Juan,
the comments are still going to continue on, whether they're directly on his fucking Instagram or there's a I Hate Tom Holland Facebook page, website. They're still going to go on.
But I mean, that's the point. He's taking himself out of that environment so he doesn't see it.
Yeah.
But it's not just on social media.
It's never always only been on social media. Those comments, those things that people are saying, people sit on their couch and watch him in spandex and like make all kinds of comments from their couches. He just can't hear them. Like people talk shit all the time. And like you said, not to his face, not to my face. And like, but why do I care? Like, why do I care? You know what I mean? Like,
because people genuinely want to be liked.
Well, yeah, of course. But I mean, social media is now it's an intimate thing, you know, like you can see a comment.
Slide into Tom Holland's DMs.
I mean, it's not like he's going to respond or anything, but you know, like you can, you can make a comment that would like genuinely affect a person, you know, and then you have like 10,000 other people agreeing with that comment. It really like messes with your head, especially when you're young, when you want to be liked by everybody.
So then, you know, and I don't know how in tune you guys are with like child celebrities, you know, but like he's not necessarily a child celebrity, but he's been acting from a very young age, and he's only kind of achieved this level of stardom within the last like 5 to 10 years because of the Marvel stuff. So like, I mean, do you think that we will see some kind of like crazy physical spiral, right? Where like, you remember how crazy it was to see like Britney Spears like shave her head and then be put under this conservatorship and have her kids taken away when like from one night to the next she seemed like a completely normal, like nothing was going on, right? Because we don't have an insight to that sitting on this side of it.
You know, I feel like it's going to be worse for young female celebrities, because you know their whole thing is being young and pretty and sexy. Once they start hearing, "Oh, you're not that pretty," or you're not, you know, you're not this or you're not that, it really affects people when you're young, and because they're still trying to shape their identity.
Yeah, and I think, Jay, you bring up a good point with that, which I was going to drive to, which is that, like, I think and I won't just say for female, but I'll say both men and women and females, as they kind of they take in the social media, the ideal physical form changes with the week's fad. Like, I remember the first one I remember hearing about was this Kylie Jenner like lip thing that they were like sucking on these like water bottles for. And like people were going to the fucking hospital for. There's another one where people were putting glue in their hair, trying to get it to like be as slick as possible. And so like, you know, the ideal physical form changes, you know, from fad to fad. It's like these kids who are trying to form their identity both mentally and physically, and just kind of like they don't know what to change into. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what body like shape to aim for because it's changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's really sad because, you know, someone will go from their early 20s and then transition to their late 20s and feel like they're, you know, obsolete or, you know, unattractive because they went from 24 to 25.
Yeah. Yeah, you know? yeah. Oh man, the mileage I got in that 1 year. You know, and it's one of those things that I think that social media has just become a really unhealthy tool to kind of it really has become an unhealthy mirror that people are using to calibrate their own experiences with. And I think it was you, Juan, who said that you had like someone in your family who was like really obsessed about posting this picture to make sure that it had like the right ambiance.
No, it wasn't somebody in my family. It was somebody that I witnessed many, many, many years ago. They were 13. Now they're adults, but I remember them posting a picture and making sure it was done, and then just hitting the fucking refresh button to make sure they got liked, and then seeing the sigh of relief when they got their first like.
But like, I find it crazy that someone's seeking that level of validation, like almost, I mean, you just said the age of 13 and now they're what, 15 now? Like
no. Now they're like 20s married.
That is in their DNA. That's in their mental DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is just part of it's a norm. It's a social norm for them. Which means that like 20 years from now, when like likes and swipes and all this shit isn't what helps you like figure out what's hip, like how do you identify yourself? Like if you go, well, I used to be able to just get likes, but now I don't have that anymore.
Well, then it forces people to kind of find their identity, you know?
You mean to tell me that you want like this 30-year-old, this middle-aged person to find their identity? Like, you know, quarter-age person, like start looking for their identity again?
Honestly, some people go their whole lives and they never find their identity. You know,
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's just really sad with social media. Social media it's just damaging to people's self-esteem and their ego. Like the ego is the biggest thing that once like people's ego gets bruised, it just tears people apart. You know, like most people can't handle their ego just being bruised slightly.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. And I think the male ego, the male ego is known for being especially fragile. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And I'm kind of curious, like as in like what has really driven this, like you know, Tom Holland is, and I think he's still in a relationship with Zendaya, right? I think we talked about this last week. I mean, that on that front has been very quiet. Maybe they're not together anymore, and he is just kind of putting up a front until the publicist decided it's good for them to like, you know, to decide that. So he is going through like something emotionally traumatic for him, but he can't openly share that because it hasn't been deemed good for the news cycle yet. So he has to put up with like, you know, these people kind of shipping like these videos and all these things that like, you know, you break up with somebody, you like get rid of their photos, you get rid of their pictures, you like go through your photo album and like cut them out of it. And he can't even do that because the internet still is just creating these like shipping videos of them. You know what I mean? So it's almost like every time he turns on an avenue to kind of decompress, there he is, kind of living what he would like, you know, his nightmare, his dream, whatever.
The thing that I want to point out is, have you noticed how the issues with social media isn't just on your typical social media? It's not just on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, but it's expanding to LinkedIn, which was a professional thing. Have you been on LinkedIn lately and seen some of the garbage that people post on there?
I'm on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I full disclosure, I'm not on LinkedIn as often as I probably could be, but mostly because it doesn't have any salacious articles that are going to help me that I'm going to like read through, you know? But yes, I do see from time to time there are posts that I go, that could have been a Facebook post, you know, that probably should have been an Instagram photo, you know, or that probably should have, you know, whatever. But when you kind of start to look at people's posts and objectify them that way, I myself am doing the thing that Tom Holland's probably like, that dumb MFer just posted that thing about a beach party. What's wrong with you?
Well, the thing that I found more interesting on LinkedIn, because it has like your employer information and shit like that, I saw someone post like a Trump support type post, but it was very controversial. And then people were like going, hey, this is not the place. Take that to Facebook or other social media. And this guy started going on the attack and tagging their employers on LinkedIn, going, yeah, I'm sure that you as the operations manager of Boeing, whatever, appreciate your comments. And I'm like, oh, that's dirty. That's not appropriate.
But I mean, it sounds like, again, I mean, it sounds like no real media is safe. And again, and I feel like, you know, LinkedIn is almost the perfect place to touch it, because like those people who kind of observe to your same theory are never going to say anything about it, because they're trying to keep from circling the drain, because the second somebody else comments on it, starts a whole nother chain.
Well, I mean, that's how social media is designed. You know, it's all like, it's a clickbait. You know, like that experiment with the hamster and the shots of dopamine, if they kept pressing the same button over and over again. That's what social media is, you know?
Yeah, it's true. It is a science. Like they have it whittled down to a science about how they do that, about how they get people hooked, you know? And again, like to circle it back to mental health, you know, people are hooked on that dopamine, and they may not even recognize their actions as irregular or even inappropriate, because there is a class of people who are cheering them on, and there's another class of folks who, for all intent and purposes, are just not saying anything and sitting back and watching shit happen, And I think, that is kind of what happened with Ezra Miller, because we talked about him, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and Jay was like, well, he hasn't come out and said anything, so I mean, whatever, I'll believe whatever he admits to, almost. And so I sent you guys an article in the show notes, which I know Juan didn't read, but Juan, just for those who are keeping up at home, Ezra has been through a bunch of different things, but this article, from Variety.com, it reads the Flash star Ezra Miller seeking treatment for complex mental health issues, and it kind of goes through like a series of all of his behaviors and stuff like that. But his statements, his direct quote is, "I'm recently gone through a time of intense crisis. I understand that I am suffering from complex mental health issues and have begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior. I'm committed to doing the necessary work to get back into a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life." And that's go ahead.
Go ahead. So, couple questions. Do you think somebody had an intervention and he realized that he's crazy? Or do you think it's a publicist saying, hey, you've gone off the deep end, you need to reel it back in? And what the heck is complex? Like, what exactly is he having?
I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious that it's a PR thing.
Want to answer your first question. I think that this is two things. The first thing is that, yes, it is absolutely PR to control the narrative for Ezra Miller, because my second thing is that this Flash movie is set to release in June 2023, which that's over less than a year from now, right? But in between that time, I want to say we have other DC properties that are coming out that are going to keep reminding people that there's like a thing happening with Ezra Miller. And so from a news cycle standpoint, I think they have to put this to bed. They go, well, I think he apologized, and we move on to the next thing. I mean, yeah, this motherfucker threw a chair at someone. He beat the shit out of a woman. He broke into a house. He choked someone. I mean, he's been through a list of things, and not just in the last the last time we talked about it, but over the course of a couple of years, he's been doing a bunch of things. So, Juan, to answer your question, I absolutely think that this was PR. But what does complex mental issues mean? Does it matter? It could mean anything. It could mean that it could mean that he's having trouble dissociative, and I'm going to butcher the word, but it could honestly mean that he doesn't recognize himself to be the person that he sees. Right?
Yeah, dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, it could mean that. It could mean that he really just is a crazy person who is trying to seek help on ways to curb his crazy impulses.
He may just have anger issues,
Yeah, he may just be angry at what, I don't know. He has a privileged life. From the outside looking in, it would seem like his life is very privileged. He's lucky he gets to do things other people can't do.
Yeah, he had the perks of being a wallflower.
And the fastest man alive, all in the same year, I think. So,
what you're saying is this is a PR Will Smith type of thing.
I think so.
I mean, a lot of it is just PR. They have movies to sell. They're not going to sell a lot of movies if he's doing the things that he's doing and he's not saying anything.
Yeah, if he's not getting help, right? Like I think you, like last week when we talked about the guy who was a pedophile but has a cure for cancer, right? You ask if he was in jail, meaning like you want to know if he's paying a pittance before you like shoot up his magical cure, because otherwise you feel a little more guilty about taking it. And so here is the social prison is like, oh, he's getting help, so I can watch the Flash movie and not feel so bad. You know what I mean?
Take my magic wonder drug. Just so you know, I touch little boys.
It cures everything, though. It cures everything. Yeah, except for pedophilia. In fact, it probably a side effect. But yeah, it is one of the things that I think that, like, this is obviously engineered by, I feel like it's obviously engineered, and I'm not belittling any troubles that Ezra is going through, because he could absolutely be having some complex mental issues that I will never understand because I'm not him. But this apology, he could have just disappeared. Like, he could have disappeared. He could have removed himself from the news cycle. But this comment right here says to me that Warner Brothers, DC, they're just like, listen, we got to get this movie out in like 8 months, 9 months. And I just need people to know that we are trying to help him.
Yeah, I mean, they already scrapped the Batgirl movie they can't scrap the Flash movie, or recast because it's just too much money to spend.
Yeah, it's like look, we've shot 99.9% and we can't. I mean, honestly, if they wanted, it's coming out in 8 months, they could probably pay for a horrible mustache job if they want it. You know what I mean? Like just digitize somebody's face over his body at this point.
They should cast Ugly Sonic in the Flash movie.
That would be gotta go fast. I mean, so I don't know, man. I think from a societal standpoint, I feel like we have to see this in this news cycle so that we know that we feel better about spending that money on the movie if it does come out. It's supposed to come out in theaters. So
yeah, I'm going to be honest. I was really excited about the Flash movie.
Yeah, and I still am because I think, I mean, as a comic book reader, lover, understander of of the story, the Flashpoint story is probably one of the best Flash stories aside from Flash Rebirth, from the early 2000s, in my personal opinion. And I want to see it brought to life. You know what I mean? So if it means I gotta put aside Ezra Miller brainwashing this little kid, beating up this girl in a bar fight, and then breaking into these people's houses, that I think we're taking care of him. Maybe making sure he gets help is the way we do that.
Yeah, it really puts a strain on your moral compass.
yeah, man. I mean, probably not Juan so much, but I
Juan don't watch movies, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, that's true. That's also true. Look, good on you, man. Good on you. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, though, is about talking about society and just the way things are viewed. Juan brought up a really good point the other day that we were talking. It was about the service industry. And I have it here in the show notes as who is serving who in the service industry. And I think this is an offshoot of the Great Resignation we talked about. I want to say either this season or last season. I can't remember, if I'm being honest. But are we living in an age where society at large just feels more entitled than they have before? And I mean from a workforce standpoint, and also from the service providers, like the service taker, giver, acceptor standpoint. Juan?
You know how I feel about that. I feel like people have become a lot more entitled. And as a service provider, it's become a lot more difficult to deal with people and trying to meet their high expectations.
I don't think they're really high.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think then?
I think people just don't want to. They just don't want to work for. They just don't want to work for somebody else. Like we've had a whole year to think about whether or not our job makes us happy, and for a lot of people, they realize it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
they need their job.
Do you think this is what's going to end up opening up the path for robots to take over the basic?
You mean like the self-checkouts? No. I think that this opens the door, Juan, for one of two paths for these industries, for the service industry to take in anyway. Because I think, to Jay's point, people had a year to realize they weren't happy with the job. They weren't happy with the job that they have, and they felt undervalued in those jobs, and they didn't realize how undervalued they felt until they had time to reflect. Right?
I don't know. I generally feel that the people receiving the service, I mean, I've watched the TikTok videos and the videos of people being rude to the service providers. I mean, not too long ago, this video went viral where this executive of a bank flipped his shit because they made his smoothie wrong and went into the restaurant and threw it at the people that made it.
Yeah, but I mean, those TikTok videos are kind of blips of incidents in like if you take society as a whole, those little blips of those incidents, it's not happening everywhere,
Yeah, I think I think we're tackling two issues, but from we're tackling the same issue, but from two different angles. So I'm specifically talking about the provider of the service, their expectation from their employer, and the people that they are providing service to. And you, Juan, are talking about the service, the person who is being given the service and their expectation of that quality of service, right? So, to Jay's point, I think people had time to think about how unhappy they were with their jobs. And the path that I think it unlocks is for employers to either A, kind of figure out how to incentivize that. And I think it only comes through one way, and that's through money, and a diversity of job duties, so that so that people feel like they have a value and they feel valued, and people feel valued when you pay them. And
but it has to go hand in hand, because you can pay a buttload of money and not have that diversity or that value in your job, and it won't mean anything.
Well, then you have a reason to fire someone. Like you gave them what they wanted. They're not happier about it. Then there should be a discussion.
Yeah, and so then Juan, to your point, there are lots of Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter videos of people who are being given service, and the quality of that service doesn't meet their expectation. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Sean, but there's a commercial. I don't know if it's Wendy's or something, but they do like this like hot fry something. And then they have the one employee that goes around and he gives everyone high fives, but he says high fry, He says high fry. He goes around and says high fry to all the other employees, which in the commercial, they're really annoyed by it. And I was watching this commercial and I said to somebody that was watching the commercial, I was like, why don't they just fire that guy? Like, he's really annoying. And why don't they just fire that guy? Why didn't they just fire him? Is it because he's a high fry guy? Is that why?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really, it doesn't look like he's really contributing much other than, getting under people's skin. So I was like, why didn't they just fire that guy?
Well, I mean, because he's the guy, he's the high fry guy. He's getting on people's nerves, but he's also making somebody's day out there. Somebody's.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like a lot of employees are not happy, mainly because they feel unappreciated. Like I feel like a lot of people complaining about workers. I think the biggest complaint they give about a lot of workers in like these minimum wage paying jobs is they just don't look happy.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that, and when you work in a service industry, you are typically working when other people are out having a good time, right? Like, people don't just go to Starbucks because that's part of their shift. They go to Starbucks because they are on a lunch break, or they got time before they go do some other thing in their day. Meanwhile, you're yelling at them about the coffee not being hot enough, you're not being enough foam, or not being sweet enough.
Or not having the spinach and feta wrap available, which is possibly going to be discontinued. But go on.
Oh, someone sounds like a Karen.
Yeah,
no, I actually feel a lot of sympathy for them, because I've been in line when they're getting ripped over something they have no control over.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like that all in, you know what I mean? That like, there's some people who just have RBF, just resting bitch face, and so people are just kind of expect them to always kind of be this dolphin to have a built-in smile on their face. So do you think that's an unrealistic expectation, Jay?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's a lot of the people that work in the service industry are young people, Mm-hmm. So you have people in the real world that are yelling at them, and then you see they see their friends on social media and they start to get FOMO, so that kind of affects how they feel at work, like they don't want to be here because all their friends are having fun.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, I think FOMO, and again, I think you touched on it earlier, Jay. Just the very idea that like they're not going to be in there and their friends are going to be out doing something else while you're stuck here is another reason why people just are unhappy in their jobs, because then you look at social media and you see this person living their best life. Meanwhile, that Instagram post could be from 2 weeks ago when they had like, an extra $100 and they're spending to go on some escapade. But it gives you that dopamine hit immediately, and then you immediately feel bad about yourself because you're not able to do that. And you don't know why, and it kind of sends you down this spiral. So how can you be happy in a place where you're watching other people live the life you want to live?
Yeah, and then you get yelled at because you're unhappy at your job.
Yeah.
What you're saying is it all boils back to social media.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it is part of it, though.
Yeah, I think social media plays the part that social media plays is about kind of feeding into this self-deprecating love that people have, or deprecating relationship people have with the very idea that they are unhappy, right? In their job. Now, the service industry in and of themselves, like you're getting yelled at about being unhappy, but literally the existence you live outside of there is showing you what your life could be. But
it's really funny because I work with a lot of young people, and a lot of them are very miserable, you know. But when I do like Zoom comedy shows or comedy shows in person, I'm working with older people, like people in their like 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they seem happier than a lot of the 20-something-year-olds that, you know, they have a lot of potential. They have their whole life ahead of them. They're young and attractive, but they're all miserable.
Would you say that's because, do you feel like that's because they are, they kind of have from their adult life kind of figured out a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like they are living their best lives, you know, so to speak.
I mean, I guess it depends on where you are at in life, you know. I don't know what it's like because for the young 20-something-year-olds, I didn't grow up with social media. I didn't interact with social media till I was in my like 30s.
Yeah,
so, but a lot of these kids, they kind of grew up with it.
Yeah, and I think that has a very large part to play in how I think the three of us. And I mean, maybe Juan's a little bit different, but and so I won't speak for him. But I think that has a large part to play in how we view social media and the impacts of it on ourselves versus like the generations that will coming before us and after us. Because in my head, like I don't see myself needing to take a break from social media. I don't see myself like trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, on social media. It's a thing that exists, and absolutely, like it's fun to look at. But like I don't go, oh man, how come I can't have that triple soiled? Why can't, you know what I mean? Why can't my life be, you know, as happy as these other folks? You know what I mean? What?
But I mean, then again, we're like, our social media isn't as popular as some other people's social media, you know, like
that's also true.
I mean, no offense. Like I don't have a couple like 20,000 followers, you know, like if I did, I think it'd be in a different situation where I'd be annoyed by it. I would probably be like, I don't want to be on here anymore.
Yeah. I go ahead, Juan. Sorry.
Going back to this whole social media thing and like Tom Holland. But why doesn't he just have a professional handle his social media?
Because he's still a kid.
No, but like he's a celebrity. Like
yeah, but he's still a kid.
No, but the thing is, social media is big on their celebrityhood. Why not have a social media manager handle it? There's people that do that for a living. Not everybody handles their own social media. Some people go, okay, Jay, it's time for you to post a video about how much you love Wheaties and post it. And then they answer questions or ignore questions.
Juan, when you were 21,
I wasn't a celebrity. You've made it time and time again a clear distinction that we're nobodies, and it doesn't really affect us the same way that it affects the celebrities. But why suddenly have them play by the same fucking rules that we're playing?
Because he's still just a kid, you know? He's still just a 20-something-year-old kid.
Of the fucking coin and say he's just a kid, but yet he's a fucking celebrity.
He's a child celebrity. It's different. It's different.
Yeah, and I'm not like taking Jay's side to make you sound crazy, Juan, but I think to Jay's point, Tom Holland is a 20-something-year-old kid, right? It probably occurred to him that he should get a social media manager, but what you think some other kid is going to let some other kid handle their social media because they know better about themselves?
Have a separate social media account. Have one for his publicity and have another one where his Tomas. Hold on. I don't know.
But that doesn't sound like something a 20-year-old kid would think of doing, you know? Like he still wants to be liked by everybody.
It's funny because when I think about people who have their social media is handled, the first people that come to my mind are not kids. You know who comes to mind? Like Brad. I don't think Brad Pitt has ever posted anything on social media himself.
Yeah,
I don't think that Holly Berry's ever posted anything on social media herself. I don't think that like George Clooney handles his own Instagram. You know what I mean? If he even has one.
Yeah, he probably doesn't give a shit about.
Yeah. you know what I mean? Like Like when I think about people who handle people's social media, I never think, I don't think Zendaya has someone handling her social media. I don't think that Harry Styles has someone handling his social media. I don't think that kid Lucas from Stranger Things has anyone handling his social media. He either doesn't have one or he's doing his own thing.
Yeah, I'm sure probably before Tom Holland became Spider-Man, he was following whatever Marvel Instagram or feed that, like, he was probably following like Robert Downey Jr., who wasn't even posting stuff on his own, and he thought, oh wow, this is the life. Yeah. And then he gets he gets thrown into that lifestyle, and he just doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, man. So, and I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of difference there, but I feel like the biggest difference is this, that like his kid brain is not going, I got to find somebody to do this for me. I don't think that's his, I don't think that's his first thought.
He wants to know, what are people saying about me? Do they still like me? You know?
Yeah. He's like, I mean, do they like me? I mean, they seem like they were cool that other time I spoke to them. I mean, I don't know. Juan, it's
when Magic Johnson first became a Laker, he was this kid from I want to say Michigan, and he was just this kind of like small town kid, but he had like these big city dreams. Came to LA, and he just started like fucking every girl that got thrown his way, you know, like, and as a 20-something-year-old kid in Los Angeles, you know, living the Showtime life, he's winning championships, and he's like the most popular thing on the planet. How do you handle that rationally? Like, you're given all this money, you're given all this attention, you're given like all this attention from like all these people, women, men, you know, it's a little overwhelming at like 20, 21 years old, you know?
Yeah, agree. Because
and this is before social media. This is before you could have like people talking about you instantly.
Yeah, and the other part of that, Juan, is that, you know, he could have people talking about him instantly, but more than that, like I said, like all those conversations still happening. Like when Magic Johnson, the whole AIDS thing, like if there was social media when Magic Johnson had like announced he had AIDS, do you know how many people would be in his DMs, in his comment? They would probably block his account. They would have probably blocked his account because the number of things that people would have been saying there, you know what I mean? Like it would have been, God, man, I can't even imagine how incredible it would have been, like just to see that whole thing happen.
Yeah. And when Magic announced that he was positive for HIV, he was still in his like early 30s.
Yeah. And it was a death sentence back then. You know what I mean? Like he was basically telling the world, I don't know how much time I have left. You know what I mean? So like,
people called him gay. They said, they said that him and Isaiah. Imagine if like he got all that information like right then and there, just bombarded with all that information.
Yeah, man. It's it's a different world, man. Absolutely.
He probably didn't get it right there and then, but he still got it.
Yeah, but I mean, think about these kids who get like they say like mean things, and then like instantly another person can respond to that.
Yeah, but it's only a delay from back then to now.
It was a delay of maybe like a day or two.
Yeah, but
now this is a delay of like a minute or even a second.
I think the damage is still the same.
It's worse now.
Yeah, the
speed
damage
that it's happening is worse, but I think the damage is still the same. Whether somebody criticizes you now and you hear it this minute, to someone criticizes you now and you hear the next day in the news.
Well, you have time to process things.
Oh, and
I feel like to Juan's point, and that it's the speed that you get things is a lot sooner. For example, we just talked about this, is like the Will Smith slap. Like it was basically permeated the social media zeitgeist before the show had even ended. You know what I mean? So I think the time you have to react to those things and to process them and to really like form a composed response, you know, that window has shrunk before you look like a complete and utter crazy person, unless you're Will Smith, who Juan loves, you know, because the fact of the matter is that, like, you know, when Magic Johnson made the announcement, all the people in the locker room probably talked. He got in his limo, he went home, he didn't want to see anybody, and he saw all the newspapers come out the next day, and that was kind of it. And then he had to worry about whispers of it and stuff like that. And then, he didn't have to open up his cell phone or his web TV at the time and kind of like watch people kind of tear him down repeatedly. Although, now that I talk about it more and more, I kind of just go, yeah, man, the news cycle probably was Magic Johnson has HIV. Magic Johnson, HIV.
It was the biggest thing, dude.
Yeah. So you know what? Juan, fuck you. I go back to Jay's side. I feel like it's the same thing.
I mean, Juan says it's the same thing, but I think it's worse.
Dumb fuck.
Because
well, clearly I was doing my Juan thing and not listening.
Because like Tom Holland, like he didn't do anything wrong, and then it's just a bunch of people going, "Oh, you suck."
Yeah, that's social media in a nutshell. Though it's just, and I think and Juan said that earlier, which is it's like, hey Tom. Yeah, you suck, man. All right.
Suck. Yeah.
And back then, without social media, they still had it. Fucking how many reviewers would see a fucking movie and bash the actor? I mean, even Siskel and Ebert, there was like, I can't remember which actors they disliked that no matter what they were in, they fucking hated their gut. And Robin Williams went through that shit. Like, no matter what he did and how he did it, people would always criticize him. Yes, it wasn't done it was done immediately, but he didn't find out about it until the following day when the newspapers and news articles and reviews came out. But the damage is the damage.
But I mean, Robin Williams suffered from depression for a very long time.
Yeah,
probably because of a lot of the things people said about him in articles and stuff like that. But you think about that with someone younger where they're getting all of that information a lot sooner. So if they're going through some kind of mental health issue and they're just constantly being bombarded by that stuff, like it's only a matter of time where like the suicide rates just rise in like younger generations, because it's just something they cannot handle.
Yeah. And I think to that point, Jay, I think there has been studies that have proven that like an analogous correlation between the rise of social media and popularity and the suicide rates of teenagers. So Jesus Christ, did it die? Anywho, yeah. So I'm not too surprised to. I wouldn't be surprised if there was even more stuff that was kind of like that fed into that. Moving on to lighten the topic a little bit. Juan, you had another thing you want to talk about, which is essentially like your bucket list item. Now,
no, but
that's gonna lighten the topic.
Well, I mean, only because
before we do our shit, you should proclaim who the fucking gauntlet winner is, because we're not doing it this week.
I would proclaim it, but I feel like I proclaimed it last week.
Well, normally we do the tune in until our final episode to say who won. But it's
you lost.
That's because you cheated.
You lost. You lost. I came in second, and Sean was the clear winner of this gauntlet.
I finally have a gauntlet under my belt. I finished the gauntlet with 20 points this season. Jay finished very close behind at 14, and Juan, you finished at 7, and 6 of those were pity points.
Oh, fuck off. Pity points. I earned.
Yeah, you did. Through pity. You earned them through pity. I pity you. I pity the fool.
Like the last time when he cheated.
Yeah.
When did I cheat?
Here we go again. The circle is complete. Yeah,
I won my gauntlet fair and square. What was the first gauntlet to begin with?
That's when we were doing One Must Go.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
No, that was the second gauntlet, wasn't it?
No, that was the first one. We started doing songs or movie songs, the next one.
Yeah.
And we've done like Juan, 3 gauntlets.
Juan cheated on the last one.
Yeah, you cheated. You Googled it or Alexa did or whatever.
Did I win last one, or I thought?
No, you cheated. You cheated and you still lost.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Jay won. Jay has won the last 2. You won the first one. Jay won the next 2. You cheated and won, and then this is the first one I've won. So I think this is our 4th or 5th gauntlet. If I am keeping up,
I'm kind of curious to see what our new gauntlet is going to be.
So that I can keep winning, it'll be the same thing and the same songs. And I'll pick the same numbers. I have a plan. I'm going to Juan Ledesma this.
I think that in the spirit of Eminem in the game, we should do diss or praise. And then we get random stories and we try to figure out, are they dissing them or praising?
Juan, if you want to put those articles together, absolutely. We can do that.
Yeah, Juan.
If you can figure out the scoring, find the articles, put them in the folder, do all that, then yeah, man, I'm all for it.
How many untouched songs do we have?
I don't know. Do you want me to look right now?
I think we do another gauntlet of songs.
This guy. Oh, all of a sudden, now there's work for you to do. You want to all of a sudden not do it. How convenient.
What a lazy fuck.
Yeah, man. Again,
Work
we produced
smart,
this episode.
not hard.
You're not even working smart, stupid.
I am. I'm letting somebody else
you
do
just
it.
Yeah, you're a lazy fuck.
Oh, how
dude.
many fucking gauntlets have you put together, asshole?
Well, Juan, I mean, the point. I think the point that we all know here is that you don't produce any show notes.
Yeah, you don't do much on this podcast, really.
You show up, you talk.
We give you a minute, and even those minutes are like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, we gave you like 2 weeks warning that you're gonna have a minute too. You could have talked about anything, but you talked about circuses like 8 times.
I do like circuses, though.
Yeah.
In fact, Circus Vargas is in town, John, but no animals.
Yeah, that seems like some information I don't really care about, if I'm being 100% honest. But hey, that's all right. I'm very excited because Dragon Ball Superhero comes out. It's going to be dubbed. Comes out on
What's that?
Something for only cool kids. Okay,
Cartoon
comes
or
out,
a movie?
It's a cartoon movie, man. But it comes out tomorrow, so I got that going for me.
I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh man, so good. It's so good. It's not for everybody, but it's. Good.
I know, it's funny. I had done the show at the Burbank Comedy Festival, and I was walking with my friend to the elevator, and he was talking about that Dragon Ball Z movie that's coming out, and I told and we gotten in the elevator, and then he goes, I said, I'm not really a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and this stranger in the elevator turns and goes, but have you guys watched Akira?
Well, I mean, that would be the only other. That's the anime guy. Like, that's the guy. He's like, if you don't know anything about anime, you need to shut your mouth, because Akira is the guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
He was
what
an older
Akira
guy. You wouldn't know. He was an older guy, and it was just like Dragon Ball was after his time, and he's still like, have you guys watched Akira?
Like, you guys don't know nothing because Akira started it all. I mean, he's not wrong, but it's just it's always it's the trump card. It's like
it's the be all.
Yeah, it's the anime community's Dark Knight. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh yeah. It's like, that movie was fucked up, right? It's like, yeah. There's been so much more anime after Akira that.
Yeah, so it's it is. Oh god, there's so much stuff going on, man. That I'm just excited that I'm excited that there is another Dragon Ball movie. That's I personally I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of my favorite animes to have come out.
I did like Dragon Ball before Dragon Ball Z because it was funny. Dragon Ball Z just got really serious and they started yelling at each other, and I was like, what is going on? That
yelling is the best part, man. Yelling, grandstanding, getting the shit beat out of you is just fun.
Yeah, I know. I just couldn't get into it. Like, they were yelling for at least 2 episodes before they started fighting each other for 3 episodes, and then.
Yeah, it's no, that is part of it though. That is absolutely part of it. So I get it. Juan, I know for a fact don't watch any anime, so.
No, when I was a kid, I watched the entire series of Dragon Ball. Got a little bit into Dragon Ball Z, and then they weren't airing it in Mexico. And then I only knew that there was Dragon Ball Z and then Dragon Ball GT. But
yeah, we don't talk about Dragon Ball GT.
Why is that?
It's they skipped it in Dragon Ball Super. It was a weird, different. It wasn't made by the original creator of Dragon Ball, so it's not looked at as canon.
But yeah, I did watch that. I also watched Sailor Moon, and there was.
Who was your favorite Sailor Scout? Morse.
Sailor Jupiter.
I watched it in Spanish. I never really dug it, to be honest. But
why'd you watch it?
Yeah, why did you watch it?
Because
he was watching for those transformations,
after,
man.
Dragon Ball Z, and then it was Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Caballeros del Zodiaco, and then they re-showed Dragon Ball Z. So I watched.
Was it in a time in your life when you started getting boners?
Yeah, he was watching it for those sweet Sailor Scout silhouettes during the transformation.
Something's happening in my pants.
I don't know what's happening to me. Did she start praying at that point? I think I'm dying. I got rigor mortis in my dick.
I can't walk when I watch Sailor Moon.
Red Rocket.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh man, Juan, if you want, I can give you a minute of Juan sense, but I feel like we've done it. We've come to the Juan. I don't know if you know this, but you are on mute.
I said I had a minute of Juansons, but after Jay's comment, I don't want to. So fuck you.
Yeah, it was probably not going to be great anyway.
Yeah, no, but
No,
now
it
we'll never
wasn't.
know. Fuck you.
I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you get angry at circuses not coming back to.
No, it was more petty. It was people not dressing up for the theater anymore.
Oh God.
No.
What do you mean? You mean like people who go out on like dates not dressing up to go to the theater?
Listen, I was a theater person in high school. I was taught anytime you go to
Hold on.
theater-
Can I at least play the music first? If we're gonna like rant on this for a little bit.
Introduce him.
That's what playing the music is.
No, he goes.
And Juan,
That's part of the music, isn't it?
well, Juan, I think now is your turn. And now, for a minute of complete and utter
Pre-recorded. That's part of the
nonsense. You've been warned.
So, like I was telling you, before you rudely interrupted me with my own music.
No, this is Juan and Company.
No,
so
just shut the fuck up and let me do it because you only give me a minute and I'm putting it down for you.
And that was a minute of Juan sense. Thank you.
So
now back to our regular
again, like I was telling you, when as a theater person, I was taught that anytime you go to a theater, you dress up. It's a shirt and tie at least, minimum. You're not asking you to wear a fucking tuxedo or a suit, but a shirt and tie. It's kind of like when the football players or the sports players dressed up for. No, I'm being serious. Like it's sad, but people don't dress up for the theater anymore. Like I went to see Moulin Rouge this past Tuesday, and a guy was there in basketball shorts and a t-shirt. And you know what? Screw you. Dress up, man. Have some self-respect.
Are you done? Is that the
Screw you, yeah. Just go done.
go done. Me Juan done now?
I'm done. Just dress up.
You heard him, folks.
Yeah, everyone.
If you're going out to the theater, make sure you put on your best suit.
No, come on. It's not old timey. It's just, and I'm not saying a suit. Just never mind.
Make sure you're wearing your hat and your tie. Ladies, make sure you're wearing your finest bustiers.
That they have tickets on sale, man, and I mean, anybody can buy those tickets. If some guy can show up wearing basketball shorts, then I definitely don't have to dress up. I mean, they let him in, Juan. They let him in. So whose fault is it? Is it his fault or the people who let him in?
I'm going to go to the theater wearing a Speedo and socks.
Just like Borat. Yeah, Juan, I guess, yeah. I mean, are you done, Juan? You're done.
No,
right?
listen. Yes, I'm done.
Okay. Well, everybody, I'm glad that Juan's done. Thanks, man. Well, that's the end of this season. Do you think that social media is going to be the downfall of this society? Do you think that Tom Holland's ever going to recover? Do you think he's still fucking Zendaya? Is that why he's so depressed now? Do you think Juan is ever going to make any sense during Juan sense? Tell us. We want to know. And
most importantly, make sure you wear your finest 3-piece suit to the theater.
That's also true.
It's not a 3-piece suit. It just dress up, man. Have some self-respect. Anyways, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. You can find us on any of your social media platforms, which is the devil, Facebook, Amazon, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is at INCYCSHOW. You can email us your suggestions or comments, INCYCShow@gmail.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail. Just follow the link in our show notes at www.anchor.fm/INCYCShow. We also have merchandise, a lot of merch in partnership with LindaMyra.com. Get your very own I'm Not Crying, You're Crying shirt. Just follow the link in the show notes. And if you don't want to wear a shirt like the rest of us, they have other cool merchandise that you can buy from them. Thank you, guys. And seriously, dress up for the theater, guys.
And if you're curious about what you're supposed to wear at the theater, make sure you email Juan Ledesma and he'll tell you what's appropriate. And if you don't wear the right outfit, the Juan Monster will come out and criticize your attire
on social media, and you'll know instantly.
to your face.
to your face on social media. Well, good night. We did it again. Here's the season 7. Juan, 18 more episodes, and you have a dick to eat, bro. Congratulations.
Goodbye, Jizz.
Goodbye, Jizz. He's embracing it. It's happening.
No.
Juan intelligence.
Oh, God. Just end.
Ziz,
already.
ziz it.